There's this invisible architect that's quietly shaping your day, nudging your thoughts, and pulling your attention in directions you don't even notice. And no, it's not some shadowy figure. It's the tech that's right there in your pocket. So today we're going to pull back that curtain and see exactly how this whole thing works. This quote from journalist Andrew Sullivan, wow, it just hits you, right? It's kind of alarming, but it also feels so familiar. It perfectly captures that feeling so many of us have, that we're just overwhelmed. Like we've lost something important in this constant flood of pings and posts. It's the feeling of being an addict, not a human. And that feeling? Well, it brings us to the biggest question of all, the one we're really diving into today. When you pick up your phone, are you actually making a choice? Or are you just reacting to an impulse that was, engineered for you? Are you really in the driver's seat, or are you just along for the ride? To get to the bottom of that, you have to understand that what happens on your screen isn't just random chance. Not at all. It's a playbook. That constant pull you feel, that's not a bug. It's a feature. It's the core of a massive, multi-billion-dollar business model that's built for one thing and one thing only: to capture you. The comedian Bill Maher made this comparison, and man, is it chilling. It really puts the stakes into perspective. I mean, it sounds like he's exaggerating, but the point he's making is so powerful. One industry targeted our physical bodies, sure, but this new one, it's targeting our consciousness, our focus, our time, what some people might even call our soul. And this right here is the heart of it all. We are living in an attention economy. You see, this tech isn't neutral. It's specifically designed to keep you glued to the screen for as long as humanly possible. Why? Because every single minute you spend scrolling is a minute they can turn around and sell to advertisers. You're not the customer here. You are the product that's being sold. So how do they actually do it? How are these apps so ridiculously irresistible that we spend, get this, an average of 50 minutes a day just on Facebook's products? Well, the answer isn't really in the code. It's in our own neurology. They've basically found a backdoor into our brains. This is their secret sauce: intermittent positive reinforcement. Now, that sounds super technical, but it's actually a pretty simple and scarily powerful idea: unpredictable rewards. It is the exact same principle that makes slot machines and gambling so addictive, and now it's been weaponized for the digital world. And this breaks it down perfectly. Just think about it. Posting on social media is exactly like pulling the lever on a slot machine. You share a picture, that's pulling the lever. Then you wait. Are you going to get a bunch of likes, comments, maybe nothing? And when that notification finally pops up, that little bright ding of pseudo-pleasure, your brain gets a hit of dopamine. That's the chemical of craving and desire. And it makes you want to pull that lever again and again and again. Look, if you're thinking this all sounds a little like a conspiracy theory, just listen to the people who actually built these things. This is Sean Parker, Facebook's very first president. He admitted it right out in the open. He said they knew, consciously knew, they were exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. They understood exactly what they were doing, and they did it anyway. And it's not just him. Here's Chamath Palihapitiya, a former VP at Facebook. He said he feels tremendous guilt for helping create these dopamine-driven feedback loops. I mean, when the actual architects of the system are sounding these massive alarms, maybe it's time we all started listening. Okay, so that was a lot of bad news. But here's the good news. You don't have to be a pawn in their game. We can actually shift from being mindlessly scrolled to mindfully choosing. There's this whole movement of people who are fighting back, not by smashing their phones, but by taking back control. And that leads us to this philosophy called digital minimalism, which author Cal Newport has really championed. Now, this isn't about throwing out your computer and living in a cave. Not at all. It's about being incredibly intentional. You just ask yourself one simple question. Does this piece of tech really, truly support something I value deeply? And if the answer is no, you happily let it go. You miss out on purpose. And honestly, this isn't some brand new idea. Way back over 150 years ago, Henry David Thoreau was talking about the same thing. He said we should measure the cost of something not in money, but in how much of our life we have to trade for it. So spending 10 hours a week on Twitter might seem like it's free, but Thoreau would ask, what's the real cost? What part of your life did you trade for it, and was it worth it? So how do we actually do this, right? How do we go from this cool idea to making a real change in our lives? Well, the process is actually pretty straightforward, but you do have to be committed to it. It all starts with something called a digital declutter.
The idea is you take a 30-day break from all the optional tech in your life. We're talking social media, news feeds, online games, anything that isn't absolutely critical for your job or your survival. And the point isn't just to take a break. It's to create some empty space, to give yourself a chance to remember what you actually enjoy doing.
And you have to fill that empty space with what you might call high-quality leisure. So instead of just passively consuming stuff on a screen, you go out and do things that are rewarding, even if they're a little hard. You could build something, with your hands, or schedule real face-to-face time with friends every week. Read a book, join a club. The goal is to swap that shallow, twitchy feeling you get from a screen for the deep satisfaction you get from the real world. And look, getting your focus back doesn't have to be some huge, monumental effort. As this person on Reddit points out, it can start super small. Just 1 minute of meditation can be enough to break that cycle of anxious phone checking and bring back a little calm. The whole journey really does start with one single, intentional step away from all that noise.
So, at the end of the day, this isn't really about good tech versus bad tech. This is about your time. It's about your focus. It's about your life. The attention economy wants to suck up every last spare minute you have and turn it into profit. So the real question, the one you have to answer for yourself, is what are you going to do with it instead?